Well, good morning. I'm Maurice Barratt. I've got another Lockdown 2021 for you. I've called this talk The Red Dragon. You know, in the book of Revelation, it talks about a red dragon. Let me read it to you. Revelation 12 verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. Well, we know from other scriptures this great red dragon is actually Satan. Let me read it. Revelation 12:9. The great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And Revelation 22 says the same. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. So we know that dragon is Satan. But I don't want to talk about that so much. I want to ask the question, why a red dragon? Why not a blue one, a green one, a pink one, a black one? Why a red dragon? You know, colours are important. So what's the significance of red? So just to stimulate your thoughts this morning, well, every symbol is dual. If I say, what does a lion represent in the Bible? Christians say, oh, the lion, Jesus, the lion of the tribe of Judah. But it also represents Satan on the other side, who goes about like a roaring lion, seeing whom he can devour. So every symbol in the Bible is dual. Satan uses it, and also God. So it's important that Christians know the right symbol and what the devil uses and what God uses. Well, to the believers, red means the blood of Christ. Surely it's simple, that redeemed us from this earth. Revelation 5:9. And they sung a new song saying, you were worthy to take the book. This is talking about Jesus. And to open the seals. You were slain and have redeemed us to God by your blood. Blood is red, out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation. But what does it mean to Satan? What's the symbolism of red? Well, you can go on an occult website and check it out. Remember, he's the red dragon, and they'll tell you what it means, red. It means murder. It means bloodshed. It means anger, it means war, it means unbridled passion, lasciviousness, revenge, anarchy, all these words. Well, it's interesting, but red is the colour of communism. I don't know if you know, but China, and with Mao Zedong and the Chinese Revolution, is the blueprint for the New World Order. The totalitarian one world system China was the blueprint. What's happening in China? Watch it, because that's the precedent and the blueprint. It's not by chance we call it Red China. It's the colour of communism, Red China. You know, the Rothschilds, who are the bankers for the Vatican and controlled by the Rothschilds don't control the world, they're controlled by the Jesuits, as everyone else is. But Rothschild, it's German, it means red shield. Rothschild, red shield. And their sign is a red shield, the Star of David, so called. It's not the Star of David, it's an occult sign. It's nothing to do with Israel at all. Israel should have on their flag the menorah, the 7-branch candlestick. Surely that represents Israel, not an occult sign. And they've changed it to a blue sign on the Israeli flag. But it's occult. You know, the whore of Babylon was dressed in scarlet. Revelation 17:4, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet, that's red, shade of red, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. You know, Little Red Riding Hood, Scarlet Woman, there's so many nursery rhymes and parables and occult symbolism in films and that. You know, often in films you see women in red hooded cloaks with a cowl on. It's portraying the whore of Babylon. Do you remember an album by Christy Berg years ago? I don't, probably 20 years ago now, called Into the Light. But the light was the illumination of the occult, not Jesus the light. And he had a song, and it was very popular, #1. I liked it very much at the time. It was called Lady in Red. It's all about the Scarlet Woman. He's dancing with the whore of Babylon. The whole album is occult language, if you read it. It talks about a spaceman, which is a play on Jesus and the birth, the nativity, but actually it's about the Antichrist. The whole album is occult, Lady in Red, and there's so much symbolism. You can discover it for yourself. You know, Ezekiel 23, let me read you another scripture, and it's talking about Judah backslidden. And she increased her whoredoms, this is Judah, for when she saw men portrayed upon the walls, the images of the Chaldeans portrayed with vermilion. Vermilion's a shade of red. Gilded with girdles upon their loins, exceeding in dyed attire, all of them princes to look upon after the manner of the Babylonians and Chaldeans. It's the colour of Babylon. You know, cardinals wear a red hat. That tells you something. Daniel 5 verse 7. And the king cried aloud to bring in the astrologers, the Chaldeans and the soothsayers. And the king spake and said to the wise men of Babylon, whoever shall read this writing and show me the interpretation thereof shall be clothed with scarlet. Daniel interpreted the dream, and he was clothed in scarlet. It's the colour of Babylon. They want to dress you in scarlet. They want to make you part of the whore of Babylon, not the bride of Christ. Revelation 17:3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman on a scarlet-coloured beast, full of the names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. 7 heads, 10 horns, that's saying that it's a person with Satan personified really in a person, because that's a description of him. When Babylon falls, this woman who's been riding the beast destroys the woman. I can't go into it. But when Babylon falls, everything falls with it, all commerce, all trade, because Babylon controls the world's merchandise. Let me read it. This is the fall of Babylon in Revelation 18. It's a whole chapter. I can only read a few verses. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet. It's one of the colours that Babylon uses. And Revelation 18 verse 16, and alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet. This is the scarlet woman, the whore of Babylon, who sits on the beast and controls the kings of the earth and sets dictators up, and will one day get us to worship the first beast, the one-world dictator. The 4 horsemen in Revelation, the 4 seals. One of them is a red horse, not by chance. And there went out another horse that was red. This is Revelation chapter 5 verse 4. And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword, bloodshed, unmitigated and unprecedented bloodshed that's coming on the earth. This red horse, this is communism, this is totalitarianism, this is the beast, this is Babylon that does it. You know, every person whose blood has been shed, it's because of this person, this system, Babylon. Let me read it, Revelation 18:24. And in her, this is Babylon, the system, was found the blood of prophets and of saints. Well, we can understand that, but it carries on. And of all that were slain on the earth, everyone who's been slain on the earth, it's because of this Babylon system. Every single person, every war, every atrocity, every ethnic cleansing, it's been caused by this system. I've written 5 volumes, 6,000 Years of Babylon. I suggest you read it because they expose all this. Esau, God hates. Jacob have I loved, Esau have I hated. Modern Jewry They say that they are Edom, not of Israel. They're counterfeit. It's the synagogue of Satan. And God hates Esau, and Esau is red. Let me read it. Genesis 25:25. And the first Esau came out red. He came out. That was his character. And all over hairy like a garment. And they call his name Esau. Well, Esau doesn't mean red. Esau means hairy. But he was red all over. That was his character. But they called him hairy. But when he showed his true character, his name was changed. He despised his birthright. Genesis 25 verse 30. Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray you, with that same red pottage. It's amazing it was red pottage that he despised his birthright for I am faint. Therefore his name was called Edom, which actually means red. Edom means red. That's the colour of modern jewellery. They've changed it to blue to disguise it, but actually the Rothschilds, the red shield, that's modern jewellery. It's actually Edom. They come from Esau, not from Abraham, not from Isaac. So he despised his birthright and chose the red pottage. There's so much symbolism in the Bible about red. I've just scratched the surface. Colours are important to God and to Satan, and we can learn so much from it. So be careful you're not deceived, because the bride of Christ and the whore of Babylon are very similar. They both got pearls and gold and silver and precious stones, and they've both got fine linen, which is the righteousness of the saints, but one's counterfeit. But the bride is clothed in white. The whore of Babylon's clothed in red. So watch out for it in these coming years, because it's going to be exposed. I've just scratched the surface. The time's gone. I hope I've given you something to think about. God bless you. Have a wonderful week. See you next time for another Lockdown 2021.